Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. We are going to be making a bulky, chunky beanie hat today. It's just going to be plain design, but there's going to be a big pom on the top of it. So what I'll need you to get for your supplies is chunky yarn. I'm using Lion brand yarns. So you could use something equivalent that is super bulky, size 6. And I'm going to be using Charlotte Blue and New York White today. So my hat is going to be just plain color. It's just going to be all blue, but then I want my pom on the top to be this white color. So I'll show you how to make the hat first, and then we'll show you how to make the pom. And this is a very versatile pattern, so you can make it for whatever size hat head you want it to be. I can show you how to do that. So we're going to be using a 12 millimeter size hook. You can use a 10 millimeter size hook, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how to make an adult size hat today. So what I need you to start by doing is, and also a measure tape would be perfect to have too, because if you want to make it a different size, I'll show you how to do the measurements for different sizes. So first off, we're going to start out, let me move this out of the way, by doing a slip knot. If you're unsure on how to make a slip knot, you can either just watch me here doing like that, or you can watch other videos online to show you how to do a slip knot. But for this pattern, I am going to be making, like I said, the adult size hat. And we want to start out by chaining first. There's no foundation crocheting starting out. We can only chain because we are using different stitches on each line. So I'll show you how to do so. Chain loosely. We're going to be chaining up 23. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. I'm doing 23 because the length of my chain needs to be about 12 inches. Okay, and you can see that there. It's like 12 and a half inches, but that's okay. That's perfect. What I'm gonna do is have this hat, it's gonna have a brim, so it's gonna be folded up, okay? So this is the height of our hat. We are working in rows for this hat, and then I'll show you how to close the top. So for different hats, I do have a sizing chart, which I want you to see on my screen here. I don't know if you can see here. Right here, there you go. And you can see there are different sizes. So size, for a baby size, you want the hat, you look at the hat height, and that will be how many chains you will do to get to the hat height, because this chain will be our height, okay? So I'm doing an adult woman size. I'm adding 2 inches because, again, I want to fold up the brim. So just keep that in mind as well when you are making your hat. But for these, just keep looking at the hat height for the size hat you want to make, and just make a chain that is that long. So again, I'm making mine to be 12 inches because I want to have a 2-inch brim. But this is the hat that I'm making. And then once we do our rows, the rows are going to measure our head circumference. So my head circumference would be between these here. So just keep looking at how many rows then you have to do, and I'll show you how to do the rows that we're going to do. But this is the how we're going to do our hat. This is the type of sizes that you can make to make it your own. And if you're unsure on how to do so, you can measure your head and then divide it by the circumference, or by pi, so 3.14, and that will equal the measurement the circumference of the hat that you need to make. So just keep reading this information here. You can always pause this to get the type of measurement you need to get, and we are going to move on. Before I move on, I do want to mention though that we do have a Facebook page, which I'll put the link in the description of this video, as well as the pattern for this video. I will eventually get that into the description of this page, or of this video. So now we're going to move on. I want you to make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can get all of our videos. You know, every week I try to put out a new video so we can crochet together, and I want you to join my page so you can see all of my crochet videos. So now that I have chained the 23 in the second chain from the hook, so there's this one and this is 2. Instead of working, you know, through this loop here, I'm actually going to turn my chain so it's a clean edge, and you can see these bumps, these ridges on the back here. I'm going to be working in these ridges right here. Okay, so it's going to be a clean edge. So again, second chain from the hook, so we see 1, 2. We're going to do a half double crochet. So you yarn over and go into that chain, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, so we're going to do that 4 more times. So we're going to have 5 half double crochets in a row. Okay, so next chain, do a half double crochet. Again, next chain. Next chain. This is half double crochet. Alright, and this is 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that chain that we skipped over here, it's considered a chain 1. The chain 1 in the beginning and at the end of each round is not going to count as any stitch, so just keep that in mind. So again, do 5 half double crochets in a row. Now we are going to do a double crochet, so yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so that's a double crochet. So do a double crochet into each chain until you have 5 chains left on your row here. So just continue doing that, and I'll meet you back up when I have 5 chains left. I'll show you what to do after that. Okay, so I just did a double crochet in the next 12 here, and now there's 5 chains left, and we are actually going to be single crocheting in these last 5. So all you have to do, no yarning over, just go straight into the next chain, then yarn over and pull through, and yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so that's a single crochet, and this is the top of our hat. So every time we're just going to single crochet till the end here. So do 5 single crochets, and every time there's a single crochet, that's going to be the top of your hat. So basically this is just continuing this pattern throughout the whole hat. I'll show you. So okay, this is my 5th one here. Alright, then we're going to chain 1, but again that does not count as our stitch. And we're going to turn our work. And now you see here, if you turn this like this facing you, you can see that there are 2, there's this loop and this loop, this loop and this loop. We usually go through 2 like this, but in this pattern, because I want it to be a ribbed hat, we are going to go through the back loops only, okay? So, and it's going to get a little confusing for this part, because for the single crochet section, for these first 5 here, what we're going to do is for the very first one, we are going to go through both loops, okay? So you see both loops are on the hook right like that. So we're going to go in for a single crochet on that first one. And now for the rest of these, we are going through the back loops. So every time you're on the single crochet side and the very last stitch, we are always going to put it through both of those loops. But for this one, now the next one, just go through like in between those two. So you're just going through the back loop only, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through two. Okay, so do that. Then that was one, and then two, and three, and then four. Okay, so that's 5, including that first one that we went through both loops. But you can see how it's making this little ribbed effect here. Well, you can see this line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're in the double crochet section. So double crochet in the next 12, or however many you have on that row here. And we're going to go through the back loops only on the rest of these, okay? So back loops only, do double crochet like so. Back loop. Back loop. And again, this portion, the middle portion, is all double crochet. Okay, but you can see how it's making that line like that. So just continue doing that, and I will meet you back up when I'm have the 5 left, and I'll show you how to do the half double crochets for that part. Alright, so now we have the 5 left here. Now we are going to do half double crochet. So yarn over and go into the back loop only, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3. Again, yarn over, go into the next stitch, but in the back loop only, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3. Next one, yarn over, go into the back loop only, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3. Last 2. Alright, and then remember back loop only. Now we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work. Again, that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So we are on the half double crochet side now. Every time you see the straggler, you'll know that it's on the single crochet side, okay? So if you can't tell the difference between your half double crochets and your single crochets, always remember the side that has a straggler on it is our single crochet side. So moving on, working in the back loops only for this part. Remember, only on the single crochet side. On that very last stitch, we are working through both loops. So on this side, we're just working through the back loops only. Do half double crochet in the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the middle section until we get to the last 5. So I'm going to work a little bit faster here so you can just continue doing this pattern. I'll meet you back up when I have my last 5. Alright, so now we have 5 stitches left. So on these first 4, we are just going to go through the back loop only and do a single crochet. Okay, and then in the very last one here, we are going to go through both loops and do a single crochet. Then chain 1 and turn your work, and continue that pattern all the way throughout. So again, go through both loops underneath, do 1 single crochet, then work through the back loops and do a single crochet in the next 4, then a double crochet in the next 12, and then 1 half double crochet in the next 5 at the very end. And then turn your work, and then do the 5 half double crochets, then 12 double crochets, and then 4 single crochets through the back loop, and then the very last one will have through the 2 loops 1 single crochet. Okay, so continue this until it measures how around your head, however much you need it. I think mine said it had to be about 20 inches to 21 inches around. So I will continue doing my rows like this, and I will meet you back up when I have enough rounds or enough rows to go around my head. Alright, so I'm just finishing. I ended up doing 16 rows of this, and I ended up measuring this out. Now you want to make sure you're measuring by stretching this completely, because it will stretch, and it comes out to be about 20 inches, like so. So that'll fit around my head perfectly. And I want to point out a few things. So obviously this looks weird, but you can see here this bottom portion where I did the half double crochets, that's going to be like our brim, and you can kind of see that it's going to be tighter around the forehead. And then this middle section is the middle of the hat, and then this top section is going in like this because we are going to be sewing this all together. So it's basically, we're going to be folding this like this, putting this all together like this, and sewing up the back seam, and it will look like a nice hat. So that's basically what we're doing. You can see the ribbing effect that working in the back loops did, which was really cool. It's very 3D. And also, when you want to fasten off, so I did the 16 rows, but again, however much your head measures, make sure that the circumference, you're measuring down by the brim when you measure. Don't measure obviously up here 20 inches, that's going to be so huge. So measure down by the brim where the half double crochets were, and I'll show you how to fasten off and sew it together. One thing I want to mention before I fasten off is that this is coming up tighter up here, because when we did our rows, I'm going to turn this like this so you can see how we did our rows. The half double crochet rows or stitches here come a little bit tight, but not as tight, or not as loose, I guess, as the middle section, which is our double crochets. And the single crochets are such a small stitch that the height of the stitch next to, okay, so this is a double crochet right here, and this is a single crochet. You can see the height of the stitch is much shorter. I mean, it's basically half the size of a double crochet. So that's why this portion of the hat, which is the top of our hat, is so tight, because we want it to be that way to get that shape of a hat. And then the brim is a little bit tighter, but not as tight as the top of the hat, because we want this to obviously stay on our forehead, so it's going to give that tighter stitch around there. So to fasten off, you want to end your row, wherever you're ending, you want to end it on the half double crochet side. You do not want to end it at the top of the hat where the single crochets are, okay? Because we are going to sew up the hat and then sew it closed. So you want to have a substantial amount, and then fasten off by cutting this. To fasten off, I usually just chain one and just keep pulling, okay? And then I just pull it tight. So obviously that's a very long strand. There we go. So just pull it tight, and that should be secure. And now you're going to need a sewing needle, and it's going to be a yarn needle. You need a large eye needle like this. Especially for the bulky yarn, you will need a large eye needle. So what we're going to do is take the end of this, and we are going to do a mattress stitch. okay, not a whip stitch. So just yarn your needle here and fold this in half. It doesn't matter which side you're folding it on. You know, you could fold it this way or you could fold it this way. Whichever way you would like. Okay, so just line up your stitches. And we're going to line up our stitches. And so for the first row we did, remember we worked in the back ridges? It gives this nice even edge, which is really nice. So we're going to continue working in the back loops. Now what are the back loops if you're looking like this? Well, it's basically the center loops. So you see there's loop here, loop here, loop here, and loop here. We're going to work in these two right here. So we're going to go in, actually, I usually put my finger in between to separate the two. So we're going to go in to the, I lay it on top of each other. So into the top one right here, but in the inside loop here. Okay. And obviously this is going to take a while because I cut my yarn so dang long. Okay, so I went into there. Now we are going to come up over the top, so it's going to come like this. And we're going to go into the inside of this one. Okay, so in between these two loops here, come in there and pull that. Okay. Now going into the next stitch, so you see this stitch here and this stitch here. We're going to go underneath and into this loop here. Okay, and then into the next stitch on this side, we're going to go into there. Okay, then on the next stitch, underneath and in between them like this. So this is called a mattress stitch. It'll just give a nice clean edge. So you won't even really see the seam. But you do want to pull tight enough, you know, not too tight where it's going to be like this, like bunching up, but, you know, tight enough so that it's secure. And then go into the next stitch right here. Okay, so just continue working like this all the way up to the very top, and then I will show you how to close the top and finish your hat. Alright, so now I've sewed up this whole edge here, and now what I usually like to do at this point is just go around a couple of stitches in a loop and tie a knot, because once you tie the top closed, you don't want the side to bunch up, because we're going to be working with a pretty tight sewing technique here. So I just like to tie a knot at this end a couple of times. Alright, and now working at the top, you want to push your straggler to the inside of the hat, and what we're going to do is, you see there's spaces here between the stitches and at the top of the stitches. Anywhere you see a hole, basically, just stick your needle through there, and we're going to go in and then come out, and then go in and come out, going in and out, just like this. Wherever you see an open hole, and then just pull this and working all the way around the piece, just in these first stitches here. So the very top of the hat. Okay, and then I've made it all the way around. And then at this point, we are going to pull this very tightly. But I'm going to go, once I pull it very tightly, you can see that the top closes, but that looks really awful. So what I try to do is actually roll this inward, like so, and actually take whatever is left, and I pull this tight, and then I go shove it inside the hat and pull that through, down inside of the hat. Okay, and pull it really tight. Okay, so you can see now it looks cleaner and better. And then what we're going to do is turn our hat inside out, and you can see that we have tied this like so, and with our straggler we're going to tie a knot. Okay, and I like to triple it up a couple, 2-3 times like that. Okay, then we cut our yarn, and then we're going to sew in this end wherever my needle went. Okay, so we're going to sew this in just between any stitch, really, just to hide it, and just pull tight. Just so it doesn't come loose, but this is not going anywhere. So all those knots I tied. Okay, you can pull that like that, shove that back in, and there you have your lovely beanie. Okay, and then with the bottom, you can always, you know, roll that up if you want, or leave it down if you want a slouchy hat or whatever. So now, I am not a big fan of this top and how it looks, but I want a big pom on the top. So I'll show you how to make a pom, but if you want, you can just leave your hat like this. It has a nice striped look, like vertical lines, which is really nice. And I want mine to have that rolled up, which gives it a nice look. So literally that took me less than an hour, so it's a very quick and easy, you know, gift idea even, or if you're going to do charity hats like this with the bulky yarn, they are so warm. So now I'm going to show you how to make a pom. I do it the old school way, so I just take pieces of cardboard. You could take a cardboard box, and I've obviously used this many times. So you can reuse them, and what you need to do is just cut out a big huge circle and then cut through here and kind of make a space. I don't know if you can see that. There's a space between here, so your yarn can go through there, and then cut about an inch size hole. And this measures to be about 2.5 inches or so, 2 inches. So 2 inches wide, so, and then from all the way across is about 5.5 inches. So not very big, and you need 2 of these. Okay, we're gonna wrap around both of them like this. Okay, and my pom is gonna be white. Okay, and you need a lot of yarn. So what we're gonna do, and we're gonna start on this side because I'm right-handed. And all you just basically want to do is just keep watching what I'm doing. So I'm going to put this in here. You want a little bit of extra, like so. And I always bend this so that I can wrap it nicely. But just wrap this around like this. And at first it's a little difficult at first trying to get coordinated, but after a while it gets much easier. So just keep wrapping. And the more you wrap, the bigger your pom will be. So I'm just going to continue, just wrap around this entire piece. You know, you can leave, obviously I've left like about a fingernail size edge here, and I'll leave that much edge here. So just continue wrapping, and once you have this fully wrapped, I will meet you back up and show you how to make our pom. Okay, so I've wrapped around this entire piece. I'm just going to wrap once more here. Oh, I guess not. Okay, so you're probably thinking like, what the heck, that doesn't even look like a pom. Well, obviously not, but this is the old school way. I know there are pom makers now, so you can, you know, go out and buy a pom maker, but this is free, so I just cut pieces of cardboard. You know, you can cut a piece of, like a box or something. So then, what you have to do is end over on this side and just cut your yarn and make sure it stays in place, because this part is the more difficult part. Wrapping was easy. So now you have to take a substantially long strand and kind of shove it between these two pieces right here, like so. Okay? Okay, so that's going to be your piece that you're going to wrap around the entire piece. But we have to keep this in place, and we're going to spread these two pieces apart. And we're not going to cut this piece, this long piece that's still attached to our ball that we're going to tie around it. We're not going to cut that piece, but that's going to help us in here. So we're going to cut between the two pieces of cardboard. We are going to cut along this. Okay? But make sure, and it's nice to keep it on a table or on your lap or something, keep it pressed down so that the yarn does not fly away or get away or anything. So I'm just going to continue cutting, and you'll definitely need a sharp scissors for this. And if you wrapped too tight, you know, obviously it may be a little bit more difficult to spread these two pieces of cardboard to, you know, apart, but you'll get there. And you know, if you cut your cardboard, oh well, you know, like I said, it's free, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so I lost my long strand, so like I said earlier, we want it to be in between the two pieces of cardboard. See how that's going like that? But don't cut it. Don't cut that piece. That's going to be tying it around. Alright, so just continue cutting around your entire piece and keep pulling this along so it keeps everything secure. And I'll meet you back up when I'm almost finished. Alright, so I'm coming up to the end here. Alright, so now we have this long piece that we kept going around the entire piece with like so. So you can see that it's all the way wrapped around the inside, and this is kind of what my palm looks like right now. So now, keeping this cardboard attached, we are going to tie a couple of knots with that long piece. I don't know if you can see in between there. And then pull very tight. You want this to be so secure that this palm is not going anywhere. Okay, so just tie a few knots on this side. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is wrap this, so the knot is on this side. We're going to wrap this and flip it to the other side and tie a couple of knots on the other side. And pull very tight, like very tight as you can. Alright, that should be pretty secure. You know, if you want to, you can take the test by taking one of the middle ones here and pulling it up like this, and if it falls out, it's obviously too loose. If it stays with the whole piece, it's tight enough. So then we want to remove the cardboard. So it'll look like this. You can just mix it all up like so. Okay, some pieces will be longer than others. We will trim that afterward and get your cardboard pieces out of there as well. Okay, now to sew this on your hat, we are going to have this like this. How fun. So what I usually do is take my hook, go to through the very top, just through any stitch, and grab one of those two longer pieces, and then go to the other side of my hat, up here, and grab the other long piece, the inside, and pull it fairly tight. Position it on the hat, go from the inside, and tie another knot. Very, very tightly. Triple knotting it. Then I go through a few stitches with my yarn needle and one strand. I'm just very picky on these, and I really want it to stay, you know, so go through a few stitches of these, like so, and do the same thing with the other strand, and then tie another knot. Okay, then taking both of them and sewing in the ends. Bulky yarn is difficult when you're sewing in the ends there. Okay, then trim the yarn, and there you have your hat. Now some of these are kind of longer, so I'm going to do a little trim job, but again, you don't want it to trim it too much because then your pom may not be so big. You just keep trimming and trimming and trimming and trimming, and then there's nothing else to trim. So if there are some imperfections in there, I would leave them. Alright, shake out all the fibers, clean it up, and there you have it. A big pom on top of a beanie hat. So I thank you so much for watching this video and learning how to crochet this hat and make this pom. And I hope you enjoyed and learned something today. Again, be sure to join our Facebook page so you can see all of my crochet videos, and be sure to subscribe to my channel as well so that you can see more updated videos. Every time I post a new video, you can get a notification. The links to the sizing chart and the pattern and my Facebook page and all that good stuff will be in the description of this video. So again, I thank you for watching. Happy hooking!